move just yet. Have a look at it one more time. I have it analyzed to move 37, but still I'm going to look at it.
Let's see. Should we just hang on for a little moment?
We will wait until he makes a move. Let's hope it's in the next minutes.
Okay, what are the alternatives, actually, to f5?
To f5. He might consider taking on b2, but I don't think that is what he wants.
Rook here, so bishop, let's say, back. And then, well, worse, a kebab.
Minutes ago, but it was never really dangerous. Knight a4. I don't know that word. What is that word?
The kebab.
Teach me.
A skewer.
Oh, kebab, you mean?
Kebab.
I pronounce it differently. I like kebab. So it's a skewer, all right.
A skewer, a kebab. Sorry. Slang. It's chess slang.
I don't know so much about chess slang. You need to teach me chess slang.
Well, I don't know. Maybe this is London chess slang. I don't know. It's a kebab, a skewer.
It's a kebab.
But even this is very interesting.
Getting hungry now.
Okay, this is impossible, isn't it? Because we take here and... All right, end of game. Okay, so let's go back. Knight a4. Is this actually winning?
It looks like it's collecting the g7 bishop.
I don't see a way back for black.
I think it explains why the pawn cannot be taken on d5.
Okay, I think all right. So, pawn takes pawn. I should say this is the actual position on the board after d5. So, pawn takes pawn. I suppose castle's kingside.
Looks natural. Now, what about white? He will have to castle kingside. It's getting really open on the queen side.
Yeah, I mean, knight takes d5 is now a move, isn't it?
It is a threat.
Yeah. So you think castles? It looks a bit ugly with that pawn on g4.
It does look ugly, but it's the home preparation of Shahryar. Well, once again, now, he has played the first several moves without thinking a single second. We have reached a very critical moment and a complicated position, and now he starts thinking. Is he thinking about what's in the notes, trying to recall it? Or did he mix up something once again? Yesterday he mixed up his preparation.
But look at him. Look at him. Does Shaq look like a happy bunny there to you?
No, and that's why I'm like, what's going on? He doesn't think for the first several moves, blitzes out his preparation, but then he either forgets his preparation or mixes it up. At least that's what happened yesterday.
Yeah, and actually he found himself in dire trouble, didn't he?
In a lost position because of one mistake, forgetting his opening.
Yeah.
It's very dangerous to blitz out your first moves. And somehow he's falling into it again. We don't claim that, of course, his position should be worse, but something...
Well, we might be claiming it.
Let's
look at concrete details here, because if pawn takes pawn, so castles, I'm going to play rook d8 and collect this pawn. What's not to like? I really like black's position. This pawn on g4 just looks really ugly. Black's pieces look good to me.
I agree.
Well, so let's go back. What about this move, knight a4? There's a funny move.
And your idea is that once I move the queen?
Well, then I might hack on d5 here. Has that improved matters?
I don't know. Castle? d6? I hope that your pawn will fall at some point.
It looks a bit flimsy, doesn't it? It doesn't... Well, okay.
But it's true that I don't have many squares for the queen, and you also get this knight c5 jump if you want to. Like queen e6, knight c5. Isn't that problematic for black?
It looks it, yeah.
No squares for the queen, and if you play queen d5, the e4 pawn will drop at the end.
Yeah, I'm just winning a piece, actually. Yeah, the queen is having to go backwards. Then I think white could say that he's achieved something there. Okay, so knight a4. We need a better square. Queen d6, let's try that one. And if pawn takes pawn, then just castle. I don't know. I still feel very comfortable with black's position here. Knights on the dim. Springer am Rande. Bringt Kummer und Schande.
Oh.
What do you say in Hungarian?
It sounds so much scarier in German.
Yeah, I know German's the bit. It's much stronger in German. What do you say in Hungarian? Do you have a rhyme?
I think we should have, but now I'm struggling to recall it.
I don't. In English, it's pathetic. Knights on the rim are dim is dreadful. But yeah, German is much stronger.
Hungarian?
Springer am Rande bringt Kummer und Schande.
I've forgotten my Hungarian. If
Oder
someone can
Trübe
tweet
und
me
Trübe und Schande.
Hungarian #Biel Chess. I don't remember how to do Hungarian. I know there is a sentence.
Is there a rhyme?
There is a rhyme. There
And is it
And
strong?
I've forgotten it. Not as strong as the German, but maybe stronger than the English.
You've been living in Spain too long.
Too long, 7 years.
What do they say in
more of a
Spanish?
Spanish than Hungarian
Okay,
already.
anyway, we'll come back to
What do the
that.
Spanish say?
We like
I
our
don't-
languages.
Do we have a rhyme for that in Spanish? Maybe not. I haven't heard.
But that's the position on the board, and we don't have a move yet. And I'm not surprised. Shahriar looks like he's suffering a bit.
Yes, once again.
I think we should leave Shaq to suffer and let's move back to Nico against David.
We are so nice to our players.
Okay, so it went e4, knight e1, and we were looking at f5 in this position, but David played knight b6.
Queen b3, is that the game?
Queen b3, this is the game continuation. Exchange on d5, and then knight d4. Attacking the queen.
So currently it is a pair of bishops full white, and the e4 pawn is hanging. But the position is very concrete, and black is claiming that the queen doesn't have good squares. The e2 pawn is hanging with a check.
Well, should we go through the alternatives?
Yeah, let's see the alternatives.
First of all,
there aren't so many.
we should say that not only the queen is attacked, but the pawn here.
Yeah, so queen c3, that's the worst you can find.
That would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
That's a good day at the office. Well, I mean, the only move that actually protects both is this, but then I've got either knight c4 or knight d5. Now, which one? This is on prise. Just a moment. I could take on b2 after. It's knight c4. And then we take on b2, or do we play rook e8?
to take on e2.
Also very interesting. I don't know which is... then we've got rook takes d4. Let's play rook e8. Yeah.
I like rook e8. But what if the queen just goes to h4? Claiming that those knights are a little weird, both on the fourth rank.
Okay.
But you can take e2 and then
Check.
d2 as well. Yeah, check, and then you take the other pawn too.
Okay, and now we have a really strange position. The rook is attacked on d1.
It's very strange.
But now the rook is potentially vulnerable here. Yeah, knight c4. No, this is also very strange because e2 is on prise. I moved too quickly. Hang on. That knight on b2 is slightly stranded. This looks very suspicious for white to me.
That looks suspicious, yes.
But
So
these...
how did we end up in this? It was after
That's a very
knight
good question.
d4. Knight d4, and we have just tried the move queen to e3.
Yeah. And now, two possibilities, knight d5 or knight c4. Is there a third possibility? See an alternative to those two moves.
Yeah, but those two look very tempting already, so...
But knight d5, I think this is okay, isn't it?
Yes, perhaps knight c4, rook e8 was better.
So knight c4 and taking on
But
e4.
the queen is almost trapped. After knight c4, the only move is queen e4. There's no other square for the queen.
Okay, so by process
Without
of
dropping
elimination, yeah, we've got this far. Now, knight takes b2 allows rook takes d4. So again, I think by process of elimination, we need to do something else. And rook e8 looks very natural to keep attacking the queen, I think.
It all looks very forcing what we have looked at before.
And queen h4 also looks entirely natural. I mean, as we had before, I don't want to play the queen back to b1. That looks...
No.
No. Keep the queen active.
Now, if you queen b1, I can even take on e2 with the rook, threatening rook takes b2.
Threatening rook takes b2, yeah. That's confirmation that queen b1 is
Really ugly.
a sad move, a sad move. So queen h4. Now, concrete threat, rook takes, whoops, not knight takes knight.
Would be nice for white.
Rook takes knight.
But isn't it what we looked at? Knight takes e2 and knight takes b2 with a good position for black.
Well, I'm not, yeah.
Or wasn't it confirmed by
I'm
us
not
that it's all right?
completely convinced by this because the
It's
knight...
a mess.
It's a
Yeah.
complete mess. The knight is stranded on b2 because the queen covers its retreats here.
We have a recommendation from our live audience, bishop. Bishop f6.
It's white's... It's black's move. Yeah.
Yeah, as a threat, bishop f6, well pointed out by our live audience. Thank you.
But-
Bishop f6 could be next move for white if he
But-
wants to.
Maybe we've got... Well, there's a couple of things here.
By the way, mentioning live audience, let me just answer a question on Twitter to us. Erich asked, Eric Pataya, can spectators enter the playing hall for free and go close to the grandmasters? Thank you. Yes, absolutely. It's free to enter the building, free to go to the playing hall, and you can see them very closely, take pictures of them. And if you are lucky, you might even get a selfie with Magnus if you find him in the right moment after a nicely played game. So certainly, it's free, and we welcome every visitor. So
And
make sure to come by.
And also, you can join the live audience
Yeah,
here.
you have plenty of seats here. You can join us here as well. If you're watching online, but you're close to Biel, and if you live in Switzerland, do join us here in Biel.
Two possible moves in this position. One is queen f5 to attack f2, and another is knight a4 with a discovered attack on the rook. And also, that could link in and secure the knight on e2, which
Yeah.
I quite like, actually, because it actually rather disrupts white's position.
It is a funny piece. It's either very bad, like you can get it trapped, or, as you mentioned, it takes so many squares away from white that it's annoying.
It feels to me as though black is actually doing pretty well here, actually.
Looks like that.
Yeah. Do we see Nico at the moment?
No,
That's
we don't
Maxime.
see him. We see Maxime.
Yeah. And I wonder how Nico's time is, actually.
Can't confirm you yet, but the last time we checked back, it was over half an hour difference in favor of David Navarra.
Just coming back to this game, Nico
Sure.
Georgiadis against David Navarra. I mean, that was quite a forcing variation, wasn't it? So I'm not surprised that David's gone in for this, and as we know, he's a great calculator. Let's just cut back and look at Mamedyarov against vachier-lagrave, because Shaq has come up with a move. He's just played queen e2. I don't know if that solves all the problems in his position, but he is at least threatening to play knight takes d5 here with a discovered attack on the queen.
Yes, both knight takes d5 and knight takes e4 are threats.
Oh, whoops. I'm misfiring. Yep, both moves.
It's funny, if it was white to move, let's just make a silly move so that we can present how to win a piece in 2 moves.
You want a silly move for... Okay, if I play here? Is that a silly...
No, I mean,
sorry, black to move.
yeah, for black.
Okay, if I play here?
That's not silly enough. Don't move your king away from the e5.
Sorry.
That's my trick. I want to take on e4. a6.
Okay, bonkers.
Exclamation mark. Knight takes.
Yep. Knight's here.
And next move, doesn't matter what black does, you take on f6. So the queen on d5 is going to be pinned. Let's say queen e6 and we take on f6.
Yeah. I mean, if I played the sensible castles, then of course knight e4 still looks...
Yeah, of course. But then it doesn't win a piece just yet, or does it? Wait, actually?
Queen f4?
Queen
Probably
f4.
not.
Pity. But it still looks... still looks... Is it suspicious?
I think black is all right here, actually. After this...
With a queen on f4, yes.
After the mass exchanges here, then the rook is on prise, so white has to protect the rook down here, and then, well, seems fine, absolutely fine. So queen, we're still tuning into this position.
Yeah,
it's very
Maxime
sharp.
was about to reach for a piece, and then he stopped.
So what's he going to play? What about... Well, if we want... We could play d4, looks a bit ugly. White, at the very least, can take the pawn back.
All right, so some of what has happened in this game was, first, it was an English opening.
Shall we go from the top?
Yeah, with this really interesting move g4 on move 7, which seems to be the home preparation of Mamedjerov, only a few games in the database. Maxime responded immediately with h6, which is the best move, it seems. So he's aware of this variation, but then h3 on move 9 is a novelty according to our search. From that moment on, it was the Frenchman who used more time thinking about this position. Shahryar blitzing out all the moves until we reached the position on move 13 with d5. And that's where the Azeri player starts thinking, and we don't understand what's going on anymore. If it was his preparation, if he mixed up his preparation, or if he does not remember his preparation.
But still seems okay for white.
Yeah, of course, we don't claim that he is in any danger, but that's the moment when we thought that his body language and his facial expression was suggesting that something could go wrong, or at least he does not remember properly what he prepared.
I'm trying to find a sneaky move here for black, but I'm not feeling it yet. I mean, the obvious move is to castle, but I think we have a move actually.
Yeah?
The queen's just gone back to e7, so he's ducked out of trouble.
This easily. He just goes back so that in case of a capture on d5, he will want to take that knight and just trade everything.
Very simple move. Yeah, good idea. Yeah, let's look at the obvious captures. And then here, this gets interesting. So we take on g7, and now we have two possibilities: queen b4 check or knight f4. Let's go knight f4. That looks like a humdinger to me.
All right. If queen takes e4, you have a nice trick. Knight takes g2, winning the queen.
It's
lovely.
It's check. So that looks really strong. If the queen goes back...
It's winning, isn't it? Or it's not winning just yet? Looks like it could be game over.
I think it's game over, yeah.
Whoa, if king d1 can just play maybe bishop takes g4 check and castle queenside check, it's all over.
Okay, we're going to have fun here.
Yeah!
And here we go.
It's not made yet.
The bishop covers. I was going to play queen c3, then noticed that this bishop was still here. Okay, this is winning somehow.
We just claim it.
We just claim it. It saves a lot of hassle. Of course.
Why calculate when we can just claim it?
Yeah. Okay. If the worst comes to the worst, we could just play rook g8, and then bishop e6. So we don't need to be heroic. It's obviously rubbish. So after knight takes, bishop g7, knight f4 looks tremendous. So that's That's the problem with knight d5, that this looks like a really strong move.
It looks like a very strong move,
Yeah.
yes.
So what about pawn takes pawn instead? Castle's kingside, I suppose?
I guess at some point I would also need to castle.
I don't really want to go queen with the g-pawn, and of course, in some positions, can prepare to play bishop g2 if necessary. But at the moment, the queen and the bishop cover c4, which is a good thing. But there's always in the air the possibility to exchange and play knight d5. Now, at the moment, it's not significant. White derives no benefit from that exchange at the moment, but it's in the air. And there's also simple idea of playing bishop g2 and putting a rook on the f-file to attack the knight on f6, force the knight away, and bring the knight into d5. So it's funny how somehow Magnus, even in a really sharp position, these positional motifs are really important. And he's, in a sense, he's playing it in a kind of strategic way, kind of.
I think he always, that's typical Magnus. Of course, he's a universal player. He's good at any kind of positions, but I think his, shall we call it his strongest skill is how he feels the positions, the harmony between the pieces, the squares, the weak squares, the spots, and he just feels it. He doesn't, I don't think he even has to consider these, like, okay, shall I go here, here, here? No, he feels it. He just has this amazing intuition.
Well, I mean, I mentioned this d5 square,
Yeah.
so it seems to me that black should be covering that square. So what about bishop e6?
Makes sense. You cover the d5 square, you develop the bishop at the same time.
I mean, I'm basically a Najdorf devotee and aficionado.
Oh!
Using the Spanish now. And I should be flipping this board around and looking at it from black's point of view, actually. I've just flipped the screen. I don't know if that shows on the screen here.
Does it mean that
Oh,
that
yeah,
is
there we
rooting
go.
for Peter?
Listen, I'm strictly neutral. I haven't got a dog in this fight. But I should be championing the black position.
All right, I go for white. I like white's position.
I'm just advocate. I'm being an advocate for black's position. So I want to play bishop.
This is new. Sorry
bishop
that I'm
e6.
interrupting you, but yeah, the moment is gone. You see, I thought, I haven't seen Magnus doing this often, fidgeting with the pieces. Like sometimes he would maybe take one of the pawns, a piece that he has captured, and hold it in his hand. But now he had two of those pieces, and he started playing around with those. He's getting a little bored. Okay, there you go again. Yeah.
I'd tell him to stop fiddling with the piece. It's distracting. But have you seen Boris do that? Boris Gelfand.
Well, he's a magician.
Boris is the ultimate piece twiddler. Yeah, his prestidigitation,
I think
his
he can
skills.
just. I think there are videos where he's just like
He's
throwing them
spinning.
in the air, spinning.
No, he's
Yes,
spinning this
can
knight.
spin
He
very,
has
very
he's,
quickly.
when he's thinking, he spins this knight round in his
exactly.
hand.
But he can also just
Yeah.
throw it in the air and catch it, like just throw it a little up in the air, catch it while he's playing.
Yeah, it just
I
drives me
think
mad. I've
He might have
got
confused the career choice.
I played. I've got a bad record against Boris.
Aw,
Yeah,
so you're complaining.
I was completely mesmerised by his piece twiddling. But you know how sometimes people. No, to be honest, it didn't bother me at all. What bothered me were these moves on the board. But you know what it is? Some people have little habits that kind of get to you. I remember playing this guy who, I mean, he really was some kind of, not exactly a magician, I don't know, some kind of conjurer, but he had a 50 pence piece.
Oh, right.
The old, you know our 50 pence pieces
Yes.
in England, this kind of seven-sided thing.
Exactly.
And he had this trick where he sort of ran it across his knuckles. So he just did it with this sort of wave movement in his hands. So I was sitting there thinking,
Lift up your hands because your name is covering your hands.
oh yeah,
People can't see
okay.
it.
So this 50p piece would sort of be danced in a wave over his knuckles. And I was, what is this?
That's impressive.
Well,
I
yeah.
can imagine. Whoa.
Thankfully, he wasn't a very player, so it didn't help him. He
No.
wasn't a Boris.
It wasn't the board.
It didn't help him in that occasion.
Let's see if in this position there can be any magic on the board.
He's
I
played bishop
see
e6. He's played bishop e6.
Bishop e6
Yes,
on the board. And there's a
that's-
question
That's
from
my man. That's my man.
Trond Arne is asking us, can you take a look at the computer suggestion for Magnus in this game? In his game, it is move 13, knight to f5. The suggestion of the computer, we are being told by Trond, and if we can look at it, it looks interesting, although too late now. He's saying, well, I don't think it's too late. Is this, was it a move earlier or is it here?
Okay, so on move 13, so Magnus played h3.
Yeah, move 13, sorry.
This was a computer suggestion? Really?
Wow.
Well, I take... I've got to flip it around and look at it from White's point of view, because otherwise I won't... Ah, now, this is interesting. If recaptures with the e-pawn, maybe this isn't such a big deal, because it doesn't look so dangerous. Maybe the idea is to recapture with the g-pawn, and then play rook g1 to hit the bishop on g7,
Wow.
and undermine
The f6 knight.
Black's position in that way.
And
Now,
if the f6 knight moves, then we always have knight d5.
that would be my guess. Maybe that's the idea. That's interesting.
Wow. Computer suggestion. Magnus Carlsen did not consider knight f5, it seems, or wasn't convinced about it.
But okay, first of all, is this the computer's top move? And which computer? I don't know.
Good question. Is it Sassy, the Norwegian supercomputer?
Is it? And
Because
is
in
it?
that case,
Is it so strong? I don't know. I mean,
I think it wasn't the winning move. It's simply an interesting option for white, as far as I understand.
yeah. Well,
Thank you for your tweet. It's really interesting to know.
I wouldn't dismiss the move. I mean, it does look very interesting. Anyway, it's all water under the bridge. Bishop e6 played, I'm delighted to say.
And knight f5 is not the same anymore. Although,
Has
it got me thinking the bishop on e6 would be hanging. But there's bishop c4. So I don't think it's the same. No, doesn't make sense here.
I don't think so. However, let's flip it round again. Attacking this guy, it doesn't look right, does it?
Doesn't look right.
And yet,
Still, what is this?
because if rook g8, we can snap it off on f6.
Exactly. And if it's rook h7, we do the same and give a check.
Ooh, that's funny. Really? But we lose the queen. We lose the queen. Watch this. Rook
Who tricked
h8.
who? Black has tricked white.
That's a good variation.
Rook h7.
Wait a second.
Not over?
It ain't
Knight
o-
d5.
It ain't over till it's over.
So the queen has to take on c4, but it's knight d5 then.
Queen is still trapped, but we get a lot of
King of 8.
material.
King of 8, and now
Trap the knight.
any piece you place on h7 is going to be trapped. This is a law of the universe.
So I don't know how real that was. That was all a bit bizarre. That was a blitz line. Okay, before we plunge into knight f5 again, let's look for slightly cleaner alternatives for white.
Wasn't this sane enough for you? After yesterday's comment about the English being mental?
The English being mental, yeah. I'm sure he meant it kindly.
I know.
I took it.
Just
I took it as a
kidding, I'm
compliment.
kidding.
I took it as a
Yeah,
compliment.
it is a compliment. I think he meant everything that is English is exciting. Wasn't it the comment?
I think that was basically, yeah, we can translate mental into exciting, yeah, basically, yeah. Okay, bishop, instead of, well, we'll look at knight f5 again. It's very interesting, but let me just see bishop g2. Okay, this is the sane move, and possibly attacking the knight on f6.
Yes, so rook can come to f1 next move.
Yeah.
No, not really. With the bishop coming to c4, no, don't play rook f1.
Okay, alternative. What about queen f2 straight away?
Makes more sense.
Is this too blunt? What about knight d7? Yeah, probably not so bad for black. Seems to hold everything. Queen f2, I don't think achieves what I'm trying to achieve.
Bishop on e6 is a key piece, of course, so
Yeah.
now knight d5 is always by bishop takes d5.
Thank you very much. I've got my... Basically, that's what we want in the Najdorf.
Yeah, that's what we want, just to get rid of this hole in the structure, and now it's a pawn on d5.
Unless...
Unless there's knight e6.
Knight e6. Oh no, it's black's move. It's black's move.
Almost. We got excited for a moment about this knight e6.
So we'll castle very quickly.
And now knight e6 is not really
And
an option.
and this is the whole point. In so many Najdorf positions, we get that knight anchored in on e5. It can't be pushed away by a pawn. And, well, in this case, we've even got this wonderful bishop screaming across the board down to b2. And then we're very happy. So that's not going to happen, folks.
Well, what's the best move here for Magnus? He's taking his time. 53 minutes left for the world champion. Yeah, the time management is quite balanced for both players, having a little bit less than an hour. Okay, he's about to reach for the queen. Queen f2, isn't
He played queen f2?
Yes.
Okay, so he must have a follow-up after this. Is his follow-up knight f5? Now that makes more sense in this position.
It makes a lot of sense in this position. With the queen now not on e2, there's no bishop c4, tempo.
Because, okay, now we have a choice how we recapture, but basically I want to ram the pawn down into f6. I'm not sure which is better, whether we play e takes or g takes, but there is the possibility to play f6 here. Maybe it's going nowhere. And look right, does it? Because black can always castle queenside. Okay, and if we play e takes, does that make a difference?
I thought that we wanted to open the g file, and now I don't see what we have as a compensation for the sacrificed piece.
I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Well, one thing is, with the pawn on f5, we're not blocking this, so the king can't castle. I'm just toying with a couple of ideas here. There's knight e4 and taking here. Okay, what if I play knight e4?
Knight e4, hinting knight takes d6.
Hinting with a big sharp elbow. d5, d5. That's a bit annoying.
It is.
Yeah.
All right, Peter Swidler is back at the board. He has had a small walk.
So just to recap, queen f2 is the move we have on the board, and we're anticipating knight fd7, and then we're at a really important juncture where white does have this possibility of knight f5. If he doesn't play knight f5, I'm not quite sure
What's the point?
why he's playing this.
I think it's going to be very forcing. Queen f2 and knight f5 seems to be the follow-up.
Unless, okay, you could just play bishop g2.
And say that I placed the queen on f2 because it was going to be attacked by bishop c4 or anything that was a bit annoying.
And if castle's kingside, then knight f5 again.
So you say that he's not in a rush playing knight f5 because black can't castle queenside, and once he castles kingside, that's when you sacrifice the piece.
Well, that was my vague thought. It's a bit vague.
Well, it could work. It could work.
Here? Of course, I've just blocked the G file, which isn't ideal. And then f6 or bishop e7 first. I mean, that allows the knight to come back here. But if we play this one first, I'm not sure. Okay, in this position, maybe bishop g2 is a mistake. What about? Okay, I'm going to play very crudely.
Right.
Rook g1.
So you want to play knight f5?
Now there's no mistaking my intention.
Hinting.
Hinting. That is. I love your use of the word hint. You better
Screaming at your opponent, knight f5.
I think anyone that gets a hint from Anna better take care. I think you better act on her instructions. Yeah, rook g1. Because then
Oh, no, no question. Knight f5.
that would be castling into it.
I'll write down that on move 13, Magnus had this interesting option of knight f5.
Yeah. No, and this is fascinating.
But still, it's such a position.
Over the last few moves, that this knight f5 move is certainly in the air.
It is in the air.
And just to repeat, that's the position on the board, and I think Peter is weighing up possibilities. We didn't explore knight f5 to the end of, we didn't completely exhaust the possibilities there. I think Peter's played, he's played knight d7. That's the position on the board.
Okay.
The knight just retreated to d7. But I don't see what's wrong with rook g1. If we want to just kind of put the brakes on for a moment. Well, I say put the brakes on. I mean, rook g1 is...
Oh, you're just stepping on speed. Speeding up.
Yeah.
Just a move later. Knight f5. We shall see if Magnus wants to sacrifice immediately on knight f5 or prepare it by playing rook g1. Also, bishop g2, candidate move. So it seems that white has plenty of choices. What about black? Can black do anything about this position, if not castle kingside into white's attack?
Let me flip the board round so I can look at black's position.
You like this so much, the knight door. So how would you play here? I'm scared as black. It looks scary.
Well, the obvious move is to play rook c8.
And not care about the king side for the moment.
I do care, but I just feel as though I need to apply some pressure here, which might slow down white's attack to some extent. And then we have to find out, okay, what's happening? What's the big deal? Is this fantastically strong?
It looks strong.
It does.
You don't really want to play bishop f8. That would be a disaster.
Would that be abject humiliation? Sometimes you got to suffer for your art. Yeah, listen, I'm not going to rush into that. Well, I don't like it. I mean, this is looking...
Knight f5.
Yep, doesn't look good. And if we have to take
I
this...
think Magnus is about to move rook g1, it feels like. I was going to ask you before he moves, what do you think he's going to go for?
Well, I mean, rook g, I really like the look of rook g, I have to say. It feels like a very natural move in this position. But, well, Magnus...
Reaching for the piece, then taking back his hand, then reaching again, and then taking it back. Scratching his head, and the move shall be... I think it's rook g1. I also feel like that's a nice move, and it really like he was about to reach for the rook. Tension. Tension.
Very
this
tense.
is the movie, you would just... It's not rook g1. What is that move?
Wow, he's...
Bishop to b5?
b5! Oh, this is fantastic. Oh, so...
Did not see that move coming.
A very different idea. This is great stuff. Well, first of all, if that's taken,
Peter's fiddler looking up.
Then we're in. Okay, Peter's got his surprised face on. So the queen is attacked, and then we can take on d6. Ah, maybe instead of that, he takes with this knight and takes on e6. Maybe taking on e6 first, and then takes on b5 with this one. And yeah, that's the one, and that is completely crushing.
That's mate. Knight d6, you have to give up your queen.
Yeah. Okay,
for
so that
knight.
can't be. But then again,
Is this a threatening move? Bishop b5.
so what happens? If I castle kingside?
Castle kingside. What's the idea of bishop b5? Obviously, it was spinning the knight on d7, but if you castle, there must be something concrete.
He wants to play bishop e7, take on e6 and take on d6. That's an extraordinary idea. So here, for example,
knight
takes.
Then bishop takes. The queen is hanging, so the bishop on b5 is never going to be captured. Next move, you can go away with the bishop.
That is a really original idea.
Wow.
Of using bishop b5 in that way. And I think the problem is that actually black's position falls apart. Because, well, let's say queen a5, then we can actually, well, there's a choice, but we can take on e5. The knight is hanging, and this basically wins an exchange.
It took some time for Peter to write down the move, bishop b5. So first he sat down. It took a moment to digest this move, and now after 2-3 minutes, he has actually written it down.
It's a fantastic concept. I wonder what white is threatening, actually. So that was, I mean, all right, listen, I sort of flashed through that variation very quickly, so it needs checking, but I think bishop oh no, wait a second, what did I do first? Oh no, bishop e7, no, we can just take on b5, I'm going nuts. So, right, I need to slow down a bit. Do we take on d7 first? How do we do this? Okay. I'm going completely crazy. that was too much.
Position, don't worry.
That was too much.
So
just to recap,
bishop e7.
Bishop e7, we can take on b5.
Okay.
I'm getting carried away.
What's the idea then after castle kingside?
So if we take here, so if knight takes, then we do have that same idea.
Same idea.
Although, yeah, it should be good. Should be good for white, I think. Looks good. Slight concern on about c3, but look, it does look good for white, doesn't it? Okay, so after.
So this is knight takes d7. There's also bishop takes d7 and queen takes.
So bishop takes. Well, at the very least, we can throw the knight into d5.
Which is always great.
Bishop f6, possibly bishop f6 first, because after this, then queen a5 is, well, mildly annoying. We can possibly play this one first. Well, it looks better for white, I guess. One of these. So we come back to queen d7 by process of elimination. And then bishop f. I want to get rid of that bishop. Bishop f6.
So in case of queen takes d7, obviously the e7 square is covered. There's no way of attacking the d6 pawn.
Or we could be more ambitious.
Quick move, yeah, castle kingside on the board, played by the 8-time Russian champion, Peter Svidler.
We could play knight f5.
Quick question, do you think Magnus will play something immediately or take some time? So, yeah, okay, too late. Danny, you're slow.
Okay, he just took it.
Takes on d7. Of course, Magnus has calculated it all. Bishop b5, you don't just play and then look around after castle.
But is this so terrible? Queen takes.
This is a question. Is this terrible or not?
So I was looking at knight f5. I don't think I'm not sure it's that strong actually. So this and no, rook g1. After rook g1, we've got. Well, okay, I know it's a really ugly move, but it defends along the 7th rank, so...
Oh,
But we've got bishop f6 if we want it, and that's a pretty solid move. But it doesn't look that bad for black to me, because we can play rook c8, and... I think I've played more positions than this.
but against Magnus?
Against Magnus, no. What I'm saying is it doesn't look that terrible for black.
Yeah, it could have been worse.
Yeah. You know, I could be teeing up for a classic rook takes c3 here. Okay, are we overlooking something huge here? I don't think so. Bishop f6 and the game goes on. Is Peter looking a bit fed up?
He is, and Magnus very much relaxed. That makes me wonder, what are we missing? What are we missing?
Okay,
there?
well let's look at the crunch move knight f5.
I gotta take it. If not, you take my bishop or the d6 pawn.
Now, two tempting possibilities. If g takes, bishop moves, but I don't quite see, as I said before, this one seems okay. And if f...
With the face that is, yeah, once again, the fed up, and this I should have seen, and not very...
It's a grimace,
happy,
isn't it? It's a grimace, yeah. He doesn't look happy. Now, but I'm trying to work out why not. This seems okay for black, because the king can tuck itself away on h7. So what about e takes instead? And then bishop c4. Now, we have the e4 square is available.
Is this what he wants?
Here?
Is this enough?
I know it's a really ugly move, but it actually gives black a bit of security along here. Stops f6, stops white playing f6. It's probably everyone with an engine at home is just going, oh yeah, easy for white or something. But this is... we're not using an engine, and this is tricky. And perhaps black is okay there. Well, it seems to us that queen d7 is the only move, only decent move.
Definitely. Of course, it's not only about the move that Peter has to play now. He's already calculating the later positions, what's happening after queen takes d7, knight f5. Queen takes d7, knight f5, or queen takes d7, bishop f6. What else we suggested there? Knight f5 and bishop f6 are our main candidate moves.
Yeah, I don't see that knight f5 is working, but like I said, somebody with a computer will probably say something else. So bishop f6.
Yeah, somebody with a computer, or somebody with Magnus Carlsen's brain.
And this is reasonable. I mean, this is playable for, well, for both sides. You know, maybe there's some latent pressure here, and knight f5 here, actually. Queen g3 might be a nice move.
I like it.
It feels better for white. So I've prevented my pawns being damaged here, and then knight f5 comes into consideration. I still like my move rook g1.
Me too. I've written it down that we should ask Magnus about it.
Well, okay. Stay at the right circumstances.
Maybe it's going to be a brilliant victory for the world champion. and giving mate in 20 moves, but we are still focusing on the rook g1 suggestion that we showed on the board. I liked your move, Danny.
I mean, this does look better for white.
Looks better.
Yeah.
Question is it winning or is it slightly better?
Yeah.
What?
Anna, what I
What
suggest we
advantage
do
is this?
is we give a quick tour of the boards, very quick assessment,
Alright.
and then we take a break because we've been going for about 2 hours. So here, that's actually the position on the board, and Peter is still considering how to recapture. Now let's quickly go to Mamedyarov against Vachier-lagrave, which went kind of as advertised.
Peter's really shaking his. I'm sorry that I'm still focusing on this, but he's just so frustrated. It looks like as if we are missing something more than just knight f5. Although that position is good for white, it looks very good for white. Almost feels like his position should be even worse than that.
Just looking at
the other positions.
Yeah, Mamedyarov against Vachier-lagrave.
We can keep the camera on Carlsen Swidler and we move through the boards.
Double-edged position. Nice pawn on d5, but there are weaknesses on the king side. Don't think it looks bad for black at all.
It's double-edged for sure.
Double-edged, okay, and very quickly, Nico Georgiadis against David Navarro. Oh, queen sack.
Whoa, we have missed it.
So it went queen e3, and after knight c4, we had this position on the board. Now, after rook e8, we were looking at queen h4, which was certainly better for
for black. So instead, Nico decided to sacrifice his queen with rook takes d4.
Let's see how much comp he has.
Wow.
He's got bishops. He's got some pressure against the queenside pawns. Is it sufficient? So at the moment he has rook, bishop, and one pawn. No, not even one pawn. It looks optically as though white has an extra pawn, but no. How do you assess this?
We have seen a queen sacrificed by the world champion here. He sacrificed the queen in the first round against David Navarro. And Navarro again with the queen, this time against Nico. In that game, David had... I swear it's not me. My legs are not long enough. I'm not even reaching to that. Well, we will have a break anyway, so I think we can fix it afterwards.
Definitely break time. I don't know, it feels to me with that beautiful bishop on g7 just striking across the board that black should be better in this position. I think
he was better against Magnus too, but it's tricky, this imbalance.
Not significantly.
No, sure. But it seems comfortable.
This one looks...
You think it's better than the game?
I think so, because that bishop controls so many important squares. So if he can get his queenside pawns going, this feels like it's better for black to me. Anyway, we shall see. We're going to take a short break.
Before we go, can we just for 1 second go back to Carlsen Swidler, the camera, and if he has made the move. If he hasn't made the move, we announce the break and we shall let Peter Swidler suffer a little. In this position, he is still suffering. Oh.
He's basically still considering how to recapture on d7 and not enjoying the prospect.
Not at all enjoying this, calculating blindfold, but he's frustrated.
Okay, Anna, we'll leave it there. Yeah. It's chocolate time.
It's chocolate time.
And we'll see you soon.
See you very shortly.
d4. Just, I want to hang on to my piece. You understand that.
I understand
You're a
that.
materialist.
I am.
So what exactly did he have in mind in this position?
It's a good question. We are not using engines, so you see that we are trying to figure it out on our own, and we don't really want to know the engine moves. So if you are an analog at home with the engine, that's fine, of course, but we are not going to comment on the engine moves, which we don't see.
Does he just want to double?
Just this easily, double rooks on the g file, piece down, but he's got time to double rooks on the g file, you are saying.
But this seems unconvincing to me. Okay, we're obviously overlooking something. Here and now what? It feels nice to knock out that bishop. Bishop f6 check. I think... Oh, wait a second.
You're looking at...
I was looking at some nonsense with bishop 6.
Whoa.
Yeah, but I think it is nonsense, unfortunately. And then check. But
I just thought the position with the bishop on g7. Oh, you still want to analyze this one?
well, I was just looking at this
Sure.
with the idea queen h4 checkmate, but the king goes that way. Sorry, go on.
I just thought at the moment when you play bishop c4, wasn't he afraid of f6, bishop h8, and the king on h7 is basically about to beat it, so we only need to check. If the queen has to move from d7, like rook takes d6 would distract the queen. We can deflect the queen by sacrificing. The problem is knight g6, so it's almost mate, but almost. Almost is not as good as mate. If there could be something to use this tactical motive.
Well, if he can get the knight in on d5,
Yep.
so just to play... I mean, this feels like slow motion chess. Well, so it's kind of a slow motion. It's an ugly move, b3. I don't like it at all. This looks really weird. Because if the bishop goes back to b5, then I can use the d5 square. Now I'm starting to think this could be quite tasty. But, I mean, I don't like moving the bishop back.
We must be missing something. Peter Swidler didn't like bishop c4. He went for bishop h8 instead.
So b3. Maybe this is his idea. But I would be very tempted just to give that bishop and play for some attack. Okay, maybe this one is... yeah, okay, I think we're getting somewhere now, because the bishop is so bad on h8.
Yeah, this is when we almost have mate. We just need the f4 square for the queen.
We're getting very close here.
Or the queen on simply the b1 h7 diagonal. Can we just push e5 and then move the queen, or it's too slow? Or maybe I shouldn't have pushed immediately.
Yeah, maybe
I can move maybe the queen first.
queen f, maybe
But
queen
you
f4.
will always get the knight back to e5. I don't know.
Yeah, but this feels dreadful for black somehow.
Yeah, something. There must be something.
So b3. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a really ugly move. I don't like to play it, but I just want to eliminate that and put the knight on d5. After this, now I'm starting to think there could be something here. Like, now I think this probably works. After this...
We have a question about this exact position with bishop c4 from Robbie. Thank you, Robbie, for your tweet. He's saying, if bishop c4, then queen d4 with the idea of f6, if that works.
Oh, okay. Just to exploit the pin. Well,
Interesting idea.
But I'll just be
6.
here. Yeah, I'll lock it down.
Yeah.
And that's sort of been my defense all along, to secure, well, basically get communication along the 7th rank way to play the position. Okay, let me try and defend with... Oh, this it looks like a mistake. F6. No, it's not defending. Bishop takes.
Yeah, bishop takes. You can't take it because of mate with queen h4.
I was trying to concoct some kind of defense like this, but actually I don't believe it.
Maybe I don't even take your rook. Maybe I just come back with the bishop. I'm threatening queen h4. You have to play bishop g7, and then I just might take it.
Yeah,
Can
it
I
looks
go
good.
that brutal?
I was actually also looking just at
Rook
this.
g6. Maybe it's easier.
And then just doing this.
Yeah, same idea, but perhaps more forcing.
Yeah, just to give mate.
Yeah, rook g6 seems to be crushing.
so this is really interesting. Bishop f4, I like it. Just to move over. Oh, so what about queen e7?
Covering the h4 square.
Bring those two key squares.
Yeah, the problem is I can't really deflect this queen. With rook takes d6, you will still be protecting the h6 square.
Let's just come back here and perhaps we can refine this in some way. It's a very cool move. Bishop g3.
It is. If this is working, if a maneuver like bishop g3, bishop f4 can work in a position where white is a piece down, and then he goes for this bishop maneuver to improve the bishop, this could be a brilliant attacking game. It will end up in attacking books if it's going to work out as a winning attack.
Yeah, bishop h6 we could try.
Okay, I guess I should take and pray.
Take and pray. I love it. Check. Now we need a rook to the h file, a queen to the h file. Well, we'll play this.
Oh.
But maybe instead of taking and praying,
Rook g8.
yeah. Still on the board.
Yeah. This Peter Swiller thinking after bishop g3. He has 23 minutes left. Currently, this is move number 20, is it?
Move 20, yeah. Someone was just suggesting here on the chess-based site, was bishop g5 better?
Whoa.
Well, that attacks h6
Immediately.
immediately, yeah.
So if I take it, you take back and queen h4.
That's interesting.
Whoa. Was there an even stronger move than bishop g3? If bishop g5 works,
Wow.
and why would it not work, right? If it's the same idea. Ooh, I gotta write it down.
Lots of questions here.
Lots of questions
Yeah.
to the world champion. We're taking notes here for the post-mortem. Wow. If bishop g5 was possible immediately, then bishop g3 cannot be the best move. It's just slower. It's slower to go bishop g3, bishop f4 than bishop g5 immediately. Oh, is there a refutation of this?
Not obviously.
Wow. Your community here on Play Chess has a really high level.
Possibly. After bishop g7, then f6, send it back, and now, yeah, queen h4.
I'm gonna check the Twitter sphere. I want to see if there are questions or comments on this exact position. Yes, we also had a tweet from Nikolai Carlson with K.
Yeah.
Move 20, bishop g5, double exclamation mark, missed by the world champion.
It could be very strong. Let's just see that again, because there's just
Whoa.
one thing that I'm just wondering about here. If bishop g7, f6, then we might take the bishop now.
Okay. Still, it feels like there should be something. Take on g7, yeah. How do you survive here?
Black's piece up.
Oh, that's how you survive. Good answer.
Rook takes
Knight
here,
g6.
e5, h4. I don't know which one. Let's say h4. f6, rook back. Still not crystal clear. I mean, it looks very fishy to come back, but I mean, certainly bishop g5. I mean, if nothing else, we can repeat this position and go back to f4.
And there's still an improvement because you force bishop g7 as a move. But bishop g3 is not that concrete. You can choose between different options for black.
Yeah. So maybe bishop g5 was a
Wow.
much stronger move, but Magnus has selected bishop g3.
And Peter Swidler's still thinking how to respond.
So we were thinking bishop c4. And then bishop f4. It's kind of slow motion. How are the clock times?
20 minutes left for Peter Swidler and 32 minutes for Magnus Carlsen. This is move 20. So still plenty of moves to be played, and that means time trouble for the Russian champion.
Yeah, so and a pleasant 10-minute time edge there for Magnus. Let's move on and look at Mamedyarov against vachier-lagrave. Wow, huge developments here. We left the game
Oh, what are the pieces?
around here, and Mamedyarov has taken on e4. And it's just a clear extra pawn. So it seemed to have worked out very well for Mamedyarov. Maxim struggling here. Well, this is a big extra pawn, it has to be said. You know, there's no doubt about this one. It's just looking very technical. Let's see. These are the moves we've got. That's pawn number 2. And that's the position on the board. Do we have another move? Nope. So Shahriar is thinking in this position. He's now 2 pawns up. Now, black does have quite good pieces in a sense. And this pawn is a little bit loose on h4. The pawn and the bishop are a kind of this rock there, but it's 2 pawns. And one would imagine this is a technical win. I mean, if I play, I just need to bring my bishop back to reality. Let's play bishop f3 so that I can actually support the h-pawn with the bishop.
So what is it that black can have to compensate for the 2 pawns that he is missing from the board? Nothing?
It's a big fat 0, I'm afraid.
How did Vachier end up in this position? And why is Shahriar so not happy?
How are the clock times? 31 minutes against 29, no time pressure at all. 10 moves in over 30 minutes.
Maybe he's just tired, Shahriar, because I feel like he should be very, very all right in this position. There's nothing to worry about, 2 pawns up.
He looks more than all right. I mean, that's my suggestion, bishop f3. No doubt there are other decent moves too. What else looks like a good move? Oh, rook a4. You could bring the rook back into play.
We mentioned before the game, when the game started, that Shahriar has a very good personal record against Maxim, and it seems that today is yet another occasion where the Azeri Grandmaster can take the better of Maxim. Seems that these 2 playing styles, somehow Mamedyarov always comes out as a winner when they face each other. often times.
I think Shahriar is just enjoying this position. I mean, Rook A4 looks
Maybe.
good. Bishop F3 looks good. He's actually played King E2.
Good with the color balance of the...
That's the position on the board after Bishop F4. I don't think Peter has moved yet, but we were considering Rook takes knight.
Yes, critical moment. Can he take on C3? Does that work for black? That is the main question in the position.
Okay, anyway, let's invite Shahriar Mamedyarov and Maxime Vachier-Lagrave to the stage.
I'll let you stay.
Fine,
Huh?
yep, great.
I'm giving up my seat to the two grandmasters. Shahriar.
So, yep, we have a result here. So Shahriar Mamedyarov has defeated Maxime Vachier-Lagrave, and they're going to join us on stage to have a quick look at their this has come at a very tense moment in the round. Incredible things.
Even H5? No, yeah.
So welcome, and well, commiserations, Maxim. Seems this is an extraordinary variation. Shahriar, what was going on here? By the way, if you want to use this mouse, then that might help.
Yeah, I had recollection of looking at G4 briefly. For some reason, I thought it was not very dangerous.
H3 is a new move, as I
H3,
understand
yeah.
it.
H3 is the new move. Okay.
Apparently,
Yeah.
your novelty.
But it is a problem since after G4 black can play too many moves. Yeah, it is not easy to remember all moves. But H3 I know it is like H3 H4 is playing I think something. H4 is G5, but it is too easy to play for black. I mean you change and H3 it was very okay.
Holds attention.
Solid, yes,
Yeah.
solid move and it's it is idea is Queen 7 B3 which we will play.
Yeah, maybe I should have castled immediately. I thought that's fine. So, of course,
Yeah, it's a
position I cannot really do this here. So
No, it is bad position. Yeah, it is bad position. It is take e5. It is a problem. Not you can play castle first. No, I think. No, it's idea if you do castle. No, first. Why not? Rook b1. Yeah, it's a
yeah,
castle.
would be one. Then you.
No, maybe queen e7 is not good. Yeah, maybe. I mean castle, and after queen e7.
We were looking at. We thought maybe d6. What did you think
Yeah,
of this?
d6 it's a solid move. I think it's also okay for.
We thought this was
It is
playable.
a very interesting position. I
Yeah,
can play
but I thought you can play castle.
castle or queen c2.
Simply castle.
Queen c2
Yeah.
also. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to lose that tempo
Yeah.
with d6, and I thought my position is fine. I just missed queen e2. Well, turns out maybe there are other moves, other good moves for white, but
It's quite an unusual position because it's
Yeah.
kind of expected that queen
No,
e2 is a strong move.
I probably should have castled right away, but then I was not so up here. But I think
I don't know how, but I mean, I analyze this position with castle. Castle, like is a game, black is absolutely okay. I mean,
yeah. So like
Yeah, you like
Yeah.
not queen e7, like a castle, you do castle, if I castle and you queen e7.
yes.
Same idea b3,
Aha.
and
Yeah.
it is okay. I mean, it is okay for black. It is normal position.
yeah, of course.
But
here,
if you play queen e7, it is a very important moment. I will show something b3. Why queen e7 is very good. B3 now is some moves like knight d8 or knight b4. It is a next move with d6 coming, and this knight is no move.
Aha.
It is a nice if he play. Okay, if it is a very tricky move. Whereas,
yeah, I must admit. I mean,
this.
Yeah.
normally I don't miss.
Yeah, it is.
this.
If only
Because
one idea.
I've had actually
No,
this,
only one idea
this
for white,
idea a couple
only
of times,
one-
but I completely
What
missed
I
it.
mean,
yeah.
only one white. Everything knight d8 or knight b. It's every time play.
Castle d6 f4, yeah?
Yeah, the 64. It is very
Wow.
nice.
Wow.
It is look and okay. If you don't take, I need to stay here. Okay? To I have okay. I analyze this position and I find it's very nice idea. Rook a2, rook f2, and I think white is better. But it is not easy to understand. For engine, it is 0, 0, 0, 0. It is draw position for engine. But for humans,
For humans, this is anything but
start, yeah.
just started a game.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, well, anyway, yeah, but somehow I didn't look for any of this. I thought my position is fine, and it turns out it really isn't. I mean,
Also, long castle. Like it, long castle.
what?
After castle, long castle. I mean, after you
No,
the
but I
castle.
thought long castle
Queen
is...
d6, yeah?
Yeah, even...
No, bishop d7, d6. I think it's white's better. Queen d6, I don't like it, and I think it is very good compensation
Yeah,
for
no, I mean, you don't need to...
castle.
You need your... Yeah, no, here it's a pity because my idea was b6 and maybe it's the only way to create some counterplay.
But something you were unsure about this somehow.
No, my first idea was create rook f1 b6, but it doesn't work. And for some reason, I mean, when playing my move, I thought this was what I had looked at. I mean, rook e8, rook e1 b6, and then it turns out it's not. Because the point is, well, bishop g7, of course, to play like this with bishop on b7, and this gives better chances of holding. And for some reason, I thought White's in time to do, well, maybe he is, yeah, to go some rook d1 d6, and but that's scary. And then the problem is, now if I play b6, takes, it takes, and I've queen e4, queen takes e4, rook takes e4. I probably have to, I mean, it doesn't really matter. Bishop b7, no rook c1, and this, well, was probably still giving better chances than in the game, but it's, I cannot,
it's not easy to
I
play.
cannot be certain,
Yeah.
but it could very well be lost. So, so I refrained from it, but yeah, I guess I really shouldn't have, because yeah, my idea was queen f6, but after queen f3 I couldn't find stabilization, and d6 is coming.
So kind of got caught in two minds in some positions. Yeah.
Something like that, and then again h5 is actually a terrible move. I mean, based on another side,
it's not so good. I think okay, it's of course it's white is easy to say, yeah. When I think rook c8, like okay, something, but bishop
yeah, rook c8, d6,
yeah, and some b6 move, bishop b6, queen e5 also is,
yeah, also, yeah, also queen f5. Yeah. So maybe this. Although I mean, black of course can go for this. I mean, this is.
seven is losing, you know. Seven, I can take c2. Take c2, and rook c8 is winning for black.
Oh, in
I mean,
this
queen b5 after queen b5.
after e7.
a7 to take c2 and rook
taking
c8
c2
is winning for black.
nice.
Oh, beautiful. So can we just show that? It's very nice. Rook c8, yeah, and queen b2 mate afterwards.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Okay, well, I mean, who knows what's going on in this position? We've got a couple more moves. We've got
Yeah, actually.
Rook g8,
yeah,
queen
rook
f2.
g8, queen f2. Yeah. So, well. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why white should be better, and I guess Magnus sort of agrees.
yeah. I mean, he had some very, very tempting possibilities earlier. I mean, so close to, or maybe even checkmating. For example, instead of bishop g3, bishop g5 is really interesting.
He plays, or no play.
No, he played bishop, in this position he played bishop g3.
But I have to ask, after bishop g5, what you want to do after move like... let's say I take on g5.
And knight g6.
Yeah.
Just knight g6. Okay.
That does look scary, I have to admit.
Is it rook g1, no?
Rook g1, I want bishop g7.
Ah. Bishop h6 check. Sometimes.
check or pin.
Yeah, check or pin, yeah.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Rook
I
h5.
could
Ah,
also
it's-
start with knight g6.
Rook h5.
Rook h5, king g8, no?
I think f6 maybe, but queen d8, yeah? f6. Queen d8 maybe. Take, queen d4 check. That's okay, it looks nice. Check, take and queen d4.
Yeah, you might even have move like this.
Yeah, also, yeah, it's nice. It's very
This
bad.
could
Wow. Anyway, I mean, the moment passed very quickly. We were not, of course, we have no idea. But Magnus certainly had very interesting possibilities. But now looks like nothing special.
Well, I mean, we should also get a look at the clocks, yeah, because
The clock time's 11 minutes for
for
Peter.
both, yeah.
And 12 for Magnus, but yeah, similar. So yeah, serious time pressure. Okay, listen guys, thanks very much for joining us. See you. So let's get Anna back on the stage. Seems as though Peter Svidler has passed this really dangerous moment. It's an extraordinary game. I don't know, Anna, have you been finding out anything? Can we just put the mic back there?
Yes, and also my microphone.
Sorry, you get your mic back on before I ask you a question. Apologies.
It's all right. I'm back. Hello.
So to recap, we've just had one game finished, and that is Shahriar Mamedyarov has defeated Maxime Vachier-Lagrave. One game down. Let's quickly cut to Nico Georgiadis against David Navara. 37 moves played. Wow, we need to have a quick update. After knight c3, rook b2, bringing the rook back into play. g5, that's a typical David move.
Very concrete.
All hell is breaking loose. So that nudges the bishop away. Presumably, I see, he just wants to eliminate the pawn on d6. I think that's his idea. Knight e2, David is being very greedy. He's taking material. d7, bishop f6 covers. And bishop a7 from Nico. This is random chess.
I'm trying to understand the material count. This is 2 minor pieces for the queen. And not even a pawn. So there's one pawn on d7, which is the most dangerous, of course, but black has a queen and a pawn versus 2 minor pieces. Whoa.